His name is Liu Chang'an, an immortal. This is a story from 2000 to 100 years Agatha-Xiangjang calling himself the first emperor. What I did was the dream of spring and autumn Bandai. He seeks immortality, locked up Liu Chang'an. Then Liu Bang entered Xianyang, has no way of living forever. Just hope that future generations can live forever. Let the Han dynasty last forever. Who would have thought that Liu Che would let him go after he succeeded to the throne? He secretly became Liu Hebicane, Liu Che's grandson. Been emperor for a few days, abandoned the little girl from the Shangwen family. In fact, Xiang Yu also wanted to find him when he entered Xianyang. But if they didn't find it, they burned Xianyang. After listening to Liu Chang'an's words, girl subconsciously asked you to live forever. Isn't that a fairy? Liu Chang'an said that he is not a goatee, have never seen a fairy. The girl sneered, I've never heard of it. There are people who can live forever, still living so suffocated. Xu lived to be 800 years old. There are countless incense sticks offered by people. How about you? How old are you? Spent most of the time in jail. But Liu Chang'an's answer was, is there anything wrong with going to jail? One generation to another is nothing but a fleeting moment for me. When that dynasty diesel, my jailers are dead, he came out naturally. Girls in classical Chinese say, I understand, I understand. A real prison isn't walls and bars but bind your heart. Makes you feel like the world is big but there's nowhere to escape. I have everything but it's hard to breathe. It's not the jailers who watch over you. It's countless kinds of ghostly eyes seeing how confident he is. Liu Chang'an couldn't help laughing out loud. At this moment, the girl suddenly reacted. I took a few steps back and asked, come back. This gentleman who is immortal and not a fairy, can you explain? Why did you show up on my roof in the middle of the night? This is your home, Maya, this is my home. This power long center belongs to my family. How did you get past the security? Could it be that you are a thief? No, I'm here to jump off a building. Then you dance. After finishing speaking, Liu Chang'an jumped down. The girl looked at Liu Chang'an, who was falling rapidly. Rapid dilation of pupils, full of fear. He never expected that the other party actually jumped. But the next morning, he uses a telescope. I saw a young man working on a construction site. Seems like the man I saw last night. He learned from his assistants building is 452 meters high. Fell from such a high building, basically impossible to live with. Liu Chang'an. But it appeared alive before his eyes at this time. He glanced at the puppy next to him, who was sticking out his tongue. What this scares the dog. Fortunately, the girl just asked the ministers to buy a pig. Drop it from the roof. After speaking, he turned and left. And Liu Chang'an, who finished his work, was about to leave, but was suddenly stopped by the foreman. The foreman told him to leave a phone number and call him next time there is work. Liu Chang'an didn't care either. After writing down my phone number, turned and left the construction site. Though he is still called Liu Chang'an now, but the age on the ID card is 18 years old, and most of this age year doesn't make much difference. Next month he will take the annual college entrance examination. But he just walked out of the construction site a few steps, just received a text message. Seeing the content of the text message, Liu Chang'an also knows now. It turned out that it was on the top floor of Power Long Center last night. The girl who looks like she's about to commit suicide, Zhu Juntang. Looking at this nonsensical text message, Liu Chang'an decisively chose to block it. This time, he received another message from his desk mate. Ask him if he will come to school tomorrow. Liu Chang'an smiled slightly after reading it. Today is not. It's Sunday, not a holiday, and it's just because of a 200 yuan odd job. I just skipped class all morning. Although I know that I will be scolded when I go back to school tomorrow. But he still went back after returning home. Liu Chang'an picked up the brush and wrote a picture. Immortals help me get married and live long. Liu Chang'an is still very satisfied with his handwriting. He is not a person with special calligraphy gifted person. It's just that calligraphy is more practiced. Words will never be embarrassing if you practice a lot more than ordinary people. You will naturally look good. Is just nostalgic, but not tired of the present life. The opposite side is reading an old book while enjoying the present life. Make him feel very comfortable. Cut a handful of chives. Lightly pat the chopped green onions to release the aroma. Fried shallots and garlic in lard. Pour over chopped green onions and vegetable leaves. Noodles boiled for 3 minutes are sleepless. Just right. A bowl of stirring is full of aroma. Just when Liu Chang'an finished cooking the noodles, a cute little girl ran in. Suddenly, I asked him happily what he had for dinner tonight. The little girl is a neighbor's child named Zhou Dongdongjus, a brave boy. One meal can eat 3 bowls of rice. Liu Chang'an saw that it was him. Turn your head and mix the cooked scallion and lard noodles. Put it in front of him. Just came back from a morning run. Liu Chang'an saw Zhou Dongdong holding 2 cups of soy milk, bounced and ran towards him unexpectedly. My foot slipped and fell off. Fortunately, Liu Chang'an reacted quickly enough. Successfully caught milk tea and screaming chicken. Then asked, "Are you going to take this chicken to kindergarten?" Zhou Dongdong said that if my mother didn't beat me, I'm definitely taking it to kindergarten. You think your mother won't beat you now? Zhou Dongdong heard his mother call him. He hid in Liu Chang'an's house in a panic at the door. Liu Chang'an outside listened to the screams of Zhou Dongdong being beaten in a blink of an eye. It turned out that Liu Chang'an's teacher said that you were absent from class yesterday. Just to earn 200 yuan, Liu Chang'an replied confidently. 200 yuan is a lot, and after that, I also have to review and do questions at home. This girl is a Nuan, the captain of the school volleyball team, very popular volleyball team girl. And Nuan asked Liu Chang'an that you were absent from school without reason. The teacher in charge didn't punish you for copying the school rules. And Nuan told Liu Chang'an, I found out yesterday class teacher actually paid attention to my Weibo. The head teacher is a Nuan's mother's college classmate. So I pay special attention to a Nuan at school. And Nuan surprise discovery. The head teacher also paid attention to many female on course he can't see it. Liu Chang'an looked at a Nuan and said that it was you in an instant, and Nuan's face turned. And Nuan thought about quickly changing the subject unexpectedly. When borrowing notes from Fat Brother hit Liu Chang'an on the head. Liu Chang'an subconsciously gave Nuan a blow he didn't expect to beat Nuan directly to the ground. Liu Chang'an said, I was also careless as compensation. After the college entrance examination, let me practice volleyball with Yao at this time. And Nuan was lying on the table and secretly watching Liu Chang'an. The unsatisfied little face turned red again. His name is Liu Chang'an, an immortal man at this time. He was leading Zhou Dongdong to play Sprinkle the Beans. Of course, it's just a name. He's not capable of really throwing beans into ice. Just hoping to throw beans at will, maybe it will take root. Bean sprouts grow. Bean sprouts are edible after the green beans have grown. They are picked and boiled, just a good snack at most of the time. This hope is in vain. Maybe after a while. But he also does this a lot. At this time, Zhou Dongdong ran over with a small bench and called him, let's catch loach together. Liu Chang'an asked him why he took him to catch loach. Zhou Dongdong stared wide-eyed and said because it was fun. This made Liu Chang'an not know what to say, turned to look at. I found the cabbage that was put in yesterday afternoon. Now it's still fresh. Looks like his appetite has been bitten off. I am no longer interested in lifeless things. But it's not an option to worship the little hen every day. So Liu Chang'an decided to try lying on his back. With the little loach, old people, we can't let this coffin act recklessly. In case the old man and the old lady hang up, nobody plays mahjong with him. This is too serious. In this way, he accompanied Zhou Dongdong to catch loaches. When we go back to school, not surprisingly, because digging it's late to raise loach in the pit. The reason for Liu Chang'an being late. The eel has nothing to say, but Liu Chang'an didn't care much. When I got back to my seat, I picked up my pen and began to draw seriously. Bai Hui next to the painting wall looks at his painting subconsciously asked, what a good figure. Who did you draw? When asked who painted Itonli, then did Liu Chang'an react. I actually unconsciously painted Yi Saijin Beckham, about the same figure as King Yanan. The undulating mountains seem to break out of the cocoon just looking at this painting. Liu Chang'an couldn't help but feel puzzled. Is he painting Yi Saijin, or? At this time, Liu Chang'an thought Qin Peng would let him see King Yanan. I think he has forgotten what Yi Saijin looks like here. Qin Yanan has something special about him that he hasn't discovered, or maybe Qin Yanan is Yi Saijin. Could it be that Yi Saijin is not dead? Just lost memories, so Qin Peng sent him to be my side. After all, he is dying, and to take care of such a special night scene. Only you are the most suitable person, but in fact, it doesn't make sense. Can Yaden is not like herself. No one witnesses childhood suddenly appeared as a teenager. Liu Chang'en's. Qin Yaden and Zhu Juntang have known each other for a long time. He has experienced a lively and lovely childhood, ignorant happy childhood. From my youthful and beautiful girlhood until now, so how can Qin Yaden have a successful career? Sure enough, I still think too much. Thinking of this, Liu Chang'en couldn't help but sighed. But he looks distracted in class, but let the teacher in charge of the eel play out in 7 steps. Just threw a piece of chalk, woke up Liu Chang'en from his distracted state. Then he asked Liu Chang'en angrily, "This is the first time you have meditated. Say sorry sincerely, forgot to be in class here, Liu Chang'en. Take it for granted that the reason for distraction is so natural." Bai Hui on the side also laughed. With the bell ringing, Bai Hui asked in a low voice to Liu Chang'en, "Do you still have dinner with a Nuan at noon?" The man came up and said, "And the old man are old friends. But he looks smaller than himself. Come down like this. Isn't he 3 times lower than him for no reason?" "Then you can just call him great-grandfather from now on. He's always embarrassed to pursue his great-granddaughter." Zhu Juntang gloated and laughed. This chapter end now. Thanks for your watching. See you next time.